We have just one more race to go here for Split 2 in the Elite Karting Series, Round 5 at Paul Fletcher International, and it is set to be a cracker. Mark O'Grady has had victory evade him only slightly so far today. He starts on pole position alongside Phil Jackson, with Chris O'Connell and Andy Laister on row 2. Dane Christison and Vince-Odozi are both only 0.6 of a second back from our pole sitter. They start on row 3 with Chrissy Harding and Hugh Moreton very high up in row 4. Row 5 of the grid is made up of Miles Harding and Ross Sandwell, with Adam Thompson uncharacteristically starting at the back of the grid, but knowing his pace, he's got a good chance to climb up throughout the course of this race. So we are ready to get underway for Split 2 Race 3. It is the final Split 2 race of the day, and it is Mark O'Grady on pole position as we go to the light sequence. And it's lights out and away we go, and it's a fantastic start for Vince-Odozi off of the line, who flies away into turn 1, not quite into the lead of the race, but into second position for sure, is into that first position. Vince-Odozi can't quite go as they go through turn 3. Mark O'Grady's got a fantastic view of this. Chrissy Harding trying to get past Andy Laister and does, down into the Litchfield Bridge. She gets through and up a position, now trying to get herself past Hugh Moreton as well. So Vince-Odozi into second position, a fantastic start for him. He flew off the line end.
He did indeed, but first place just eluded him now, and now he will have to get very defensive if he wants to finish on that podium, which he so desperately wants to do. But it's going to be very, very tough as we look a bit further down. Miles Harding in a battle with Dane Christison then, just on the lower edges of the top 10.
Absolutely, is now Mark O'Grady trying to get past Vince-Odozi. He did catch up quite significantly as Adam Thompson, meanwhile, putting pressure on Andy Laister as they make their way down into the right-hander at the top of the circuit. But Andy is pretty happy to stay where he is for the time being. I think we've got two wide running further back actually, as Mark O'Grady's under a little bit of pressure here at the end of the first lap as we see them all clock up over the timing tower. It's Chris O'Connell in the lead of this race ahead of Vince-Odozi. Mark O'Grady now getting overtaken by Phil Jackson on the outside line. Here goes Phil Jackson all the way around the outside, looking to sail through on Mark O'Grady, who holds it firm on that inside line and into the Litchfield Bridge. Is happy to stay where he is for the time being, but Phil Jackson back to the inside line in the second part of that corner is able to find his way through up into the podium running. So Phil Jackson in third position at the moment. Miles Harding is on the inside line of Dane Christensen into hairpin 1. Dane on the outside line is able to find his way through as well. Adam Thompson just ahead has got a view of, I believe that's Hugh Moreton trying to get past Andy Laister, but no way through for Hugh at the moment.
Oh, and somebody went very, very wide at the second hairpin there and lost a couple of positions, taking right into the Adam Thompson fight here.
So O'Connell at the lead of the race, and as we get to the end of the second lap, we're keeping an eye on him as he's got a pretty significant gap back to Vince-Odozi in second position. Mark O'Grady third, still just ahead of Phil Jackson. He's got himself back past Phil Jackson, in fact. And now as they get to the end of this second lap, we can confirm that it is going to be Phil Jackson continuing to put that pressure on Mark O'Grady as they go through turn 3. He's all over the back of Mark, who's going to have to get a little bit defensive here if he wants to hold on to that position. Adam Thompson, meanwhile, is trying to attack Hugh Moreton and gets a fantastic run out of turn 3, but not quite good enough to get past Hugh. Phil Jackson now past Mark O'Grady. That move was made into the Litchfield Bridge once again, so Mark having to tuck back in to the slipstream. Into hairpin 1 they go, and Mark O'Grady isn't able to get back to the inside line. In fact, he's having to go defensive as Miles Harding dives down the inside line of 2 cars and finds his way through as well. That was a little bit of a bumper pass from my liking for Miles Harding. Luke Battersby's in race control, he can give you the verdict.
Yeah, it was, and he has received a point deduction for that. So Miles Harding there, you just saw him hit the car out of the way then, and he has received a 1 point deduction because of that.
So Miles Harding with a bit of a penalty there, fairly lenient on him as he can crack on and try and get past Adam Thompson now in this race.
Yeah, certainly it'll certainly hurt him after the race, but while he's in the car he doesn't know, so he's just got to hope for the best, of course, and try and make up as much progress through this field as he can. Then they cross the line. Next target is of course Adam Thompson, and we can go on board with both of them as they're about to go side by side into turn 1 then for that 8th place, and a little bit more contact. Adam Thompson gets right over the curb and just about keeps it pointing in the right direction there, so absolute bravery from Miles Harding there, and Adam Thompson doing well to survive that one as there's a little bit of contact just ahead of them.
Marco Grady on the inside line, he's forced onto the curb as Andy Laister finds his way through. He's frustrated with that and now has to be even more frustrated because Miles Harding is on his outside line trying to fly around the outside line. Will cut the lines across and now stay alongside with Marco Grady into hairpin 2 and gets himself ahead before the braking zone. That is Miles Harding with a pretty simple move made through hairpin 2. Marco Grady looking to get the run back down into turn 8, but again has to stay behind, just can't get the run on Miles Harding at this point. He's having a fantastic drive. Someone else having a fantastic drive actually. It's Adam Thompson goes to the inside line of Marco Grady now. It goes from bad to worse for Marco Grady, and Adam Thompson finds his way through. So Chrissy Harding having a fantastic run. She's all the way up in 5th position at the moment.
Yep, she is, and right in that battle just outside the podium position. So her and Ross Sandwell working in lockstep together to try and make up ground. Next target, of course, Phil Jackson, who himself is in a big fight with even Vince-Odozi for what is currently 2nd position.
Marco Grady just got overtaken by Dane Christison as Miles Harding now has Andy Laister in his sights. Down the inside line through the Litchfield Bridge he goes and able to find his way through. No, it's not. Andy Laister back on the inside line, able to defend that one for the time being. Miles back to the inside into hairpin 1, looks to dive down the inside line and on the brakes gets the move done. Andy Laister looking to counter-attack here on the outside line. Miles Harding able to get overtaken there. Andy Laister, fantastic move on the outside line. Chris O'Connell still in the lead of the race then ahead of Ethan Vince-Odozi, but we're keeping an eye on the battle for 3rd because Phil Jackson's under pressure from Ross Sandwell. Chrissy Harding in 5th position looking for her first podium in the EKS. You can see the drone shot following these guys through into sector 3. What a drive it's been for Chrissy Harding so far. Let's see if she can get onto that podium position. As Ethan Vince-Odozi, has he just been overtaken? I think he has. Didn't quite see what happened there, but Ethan Vince-Odozi has lost out to Phil Jackson. Now they continue to battle on through as he's back to the inside line, can't find a way through on Phil Jackson under pressure from Ross Sandwell now, who's on the inside line of Ethan Vince-Odozi going through turn 3. What can Chrissy Harding do as well? Ross Sandwell on the inside line, Ethan Vince-Odozi forced out a little bit. Chrissy Harding fancies her chances on the inside line, and can she get through as well? No, Ethan holds on to 5th position.
Yeah, it's so easy when you lose one position for it to just slide and tumble out of control then, as Miles Harding now making a move up the inside of Andy Laister as they go downhill and into the hairpin. Nicely done by Miles on this occasion.
Very nicely done indeed, as now Marco Grady puts pressure just ahead of him, trying to now get past, in fact, Hugh Moreton. This is frustrating drive for Marco Grady at this point, as now Chrissy Harding goes to the inside of Ethan Vince-Odozi, has to back out of the move almost immediately because she didn't quite get alongside as much as she thought she had. Phil Jackson battling along at the moment with Ross Sandwell as they go through into sector 3. Let's see what Ross Sandwell can do. He'll look for the exit out of the final corner, maybe try and find a way through. Now gets the exit and now puts a lot of pressure on Phil Jackson, who has to go defensive. Ross will look to the outside line, does look to the outside line. Chrissy Harding looks to the inside line in the background and gets through on Ethan Vince-Odozi. That's a simple move for Chrissy Harding as through turn 3 we go, and well, Ross Sandwell has to stay behind for the time being. Looks to the inside line, looks to get to the inside and looks to get through. Phil Jackson getting swallowed up here, and it's a wonderful move around the outside line for Ross Sandwell.
Yeah, it takes a lot of confidence and bravery, and indeed a little bit of thinking ahead to be able to pull that one off. And then Phil Jackson luckily left it just enough room for Sandwell to squeeze through there. So Crawley Seekers up to 2nd and 4th.
Miles Harding now watching Ethan Vince-Odozi battle along as Chrissy Harding tries to get to the outside line now of that Phil Jackson in 2nd position.
3
wide. Ethan Vince-Odozi's on the inside line. Chrissy Harding trying to get the benefit out of all of it. Phil Jackson, they'll continue to be 3 wide here into the right-hander. Ethan Vince-Odozi back into the podium running as Andy Laister going to overtake Miles Harding here, and does. So Ethan Vince-Odozi back into 3rd position, from what I can tell you. In fact, it will be 3rd position with Chrissy Harding in 4th. She's now trying to get herself back past here on Ethan Vince-Odozi as they make their way into turn 1. Can she get to the inside line? Chrissy Harding, I think she can. Ethan Vince-Odozi under so much pressure, and Chrissy Harding able to find her way back through. So the stint in the podium for Ethan Vince-Odozi is brief.
Yeah, you can see Ethan trying so hard to keep them at bay, but Chrissy found a way through with the run that she got down the straight now, and Ethan will be desperate to counter-attack if he can, but it's all getting hectic just behind. Here comes Miles Harding, still fighting away with that Andy Laister alongside him.
dives to the inside and finds his way through. Dane Christison is involved as well. Phil Jackson, I believe, involved also. Phil's the driver on the outside of Miles Harding at this point, as Miles is able to defend, as it's a bit of a mess further behind, as everyone trying to find a way through. Andy Laister under pressure now, as well as all streets through. I think Adam Thompson gains a position in all of it as well, as Phil Jackson tumbling down the order at this point. Still keeping a close eye on that battle for third as we go to the checkered flag, in fact, and it's going to greet Chris O'Connell. What a drive it's been for him. Ross Sandwell in second position, so Chrissy Harding only had to hold on for about a lap, and she takes third position, her first podium in the EKS. Ethan Vince-Odozi narrowly misses out. Miles Harding and Andy Laister fifth and sixth.
Chris O'Connell ended up taking a dominant victory then in that race, leading from turn 1 on lap 1 through to the end of the race and winning by 7.2 seconds in the end ahead of Ross Sandwell. The next 4 drivers all raced together at Team Sport Crawley, so they're all one big gang, and Ross Sandwell ended up coming out on top in second place ahead of Chrissy Harding, Ethan Vince-Odozi and Miles Harding. Chrissy, Ethan and Miles all had their best ever result then in the EKS in that race, all coming home in the top 5 for the first time ever. Andy Laister ended up coming home in P6, and he's also been crowned the top heavyweight driver at this round courtesy of his successes in all 3 races, and he came home ahead of Dane Christison, who actually got the fastest lap on the race there and did a great job carving his way through the field after a poor launch off the line. Adam Thompson and Phil Jackson came home in P8 and P9 ahead of Hugh Morrison, with Mark O'Grady getting a little bit unlucky there in that race with his karts. He ended up coming home in P11. We can now head down to the grandstand, where I'm joined by the top 3. Okay, I'm here with Chris O'Connell, who took a very dominant victory in that race. How did that go for you?
No, it was a good race, had a good start. The kart was quick, to be fair. Pulled away, and then I just kept pushing and just kept pulling away each lap. It was a good race.
And how are you finding the circuit?
Oh, it's the second time here. It's a really good circuit. Fast flowing if you get all the corners right. Some corners it can be up on 2 wheels, which is good. Fun.
But yeah, pleased to hear you enjoyed it. Well on the victory.
Cheers, thank you.
Okay, I'm here with Chrissy and Ross, finishing second and third in that race. How did that go?
Oh, it was amazing. What about for you, Ross?
Yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it from last row to second, so I had to just make my way through the field.
Yeah, and it does show a little bit of teamwork and a different mindset. We actually boshed it from being last for the last 2 races, and then this race coming P2, mate.
And how are you finding the track?
How do you find this track?
The track's great. I love it. It's probably the best track on the calendar, to be fair. It's very grippy though. Like it's quite physical, but yeah.
Especially when we started from the wet, so like our qualify and our practice was in the wet, and then we went straight into the dry. I think we had the best of both worlds. Tried out a little wet, was still a little bit of a challenge, and then dry, it's a completely different ball game. Like the speed in it is crazy. I love it.
Good to hear you enjoyed it. Well done.
Thank you. Do we hold the microphone right this time?